Good morning and a warm welcome to this week's edition of The Dialogue. My name is Prince Apollo. Happy to have you back on the panel, and we are set to take you through those big stories which made headlines through the week. A week full of graduation parties, and we take the pleasure to congratulate all those who excelled in different disciplines and elsewhere. The panel is here: Dr. Jared Wanzara, a public policy researcher, and Richard Baguma, communication expert, ready for the show. I am pleased once again to introduce to you the panel. Dr. Jared, I'm happy to see you. Speak to our viewers and we kick off the big show.
Thank you very much, my host. Good morning, Apollo. Happy to see you smart on that red.
Wow.
Maybe you tell us why you're wearing that. Are there any motives? And also to my co-panelist, Richard, why don't you always add that communication and advocacy expert? Because I know him for being a good advocate. Advocate for so many things in the country. So I respect that.
Yeah, true.
Good morning to our esteemed viewers. Of course, we are happy that God has allowed us to be here with you again today. So looking forward to 2 hours of engagement. Thank you.
And briefly, Dr. Jared Wanzara, how was this week?
The week locally did not have a lot of things, but for me, what has been concerning me is monitoring the issues in the region. And I think we are in a volatile region. The Congo, I'm seeing drones hitting the M23. And of course, I think SADC forces seem to be more serious to fight alongside DRC to counter the threats to DRC. So it's what I've been watching mainly.
And the West African states of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso cutting ties with old neighbors within the regional bloc ECOWAS. Does that tell of how possibly these people, these nations, may be serious about second liberation?
But you remember sometime when they said they were going to make their own alliance, the three you have mentioned, I said basically it was going to be an alliance of insecurity, not security. Because what actually I saw this week is the Mali junta guy very happy that Russia has delivered about 25,000 tons of wheat to Mali to rescue them from hunger, because they don't have hunger. So if it is a short-term measure, that would be okay. But then, like I told you, that you cannot pretend to be running away from the West and falling into the Africa Corps, which is former Wagner, under Russia. It is like you jumping also from the frying pan to fire. So the best thing is the politics has changed. We need to know how to play both sides. And I think President Museveni has been excelling a bit in trying to deal with both sides. Of course, lately he's more tougher talking, but I know he meets them, talks to them, applies for loans, and discusses bilateral cooperation with them. So you cannot just shift amidst all those challenges. So I believe that they were also criticizing ECOWAS, that ECOWAS has gone overboard, astray from the objectives that created it. But then if you read the objectives of ECOWAS, one of them is to promote cooperation and good governance, and then democracy is within their documents. So basically, I think they need to properly define the kind of course they want to take.
All right. And Richard Baguma, I'm always pleased to have you on the show.
Thank you.
The craze of AFCON is getting hotter and hotter. And that's something I think has preoccupied the population on this continent for all these 3 weeks. How do you see, I mean, these things working out? It now turns out to be a West African affair. in AFCON. East Africa out, South Africa out, and I don't know, make a comment and we go on.
Thank you, Apollo. Always a pleasure to be here, and all glory goes to God, the most powerful, but the most forgiving. Greetings to you. This one was teasing you about the color of your shirt.
But this red came even before,
really,
before what he thinks it is.
It is him to explain this investment thing he's trying to promote. What investments is he promoting? I hope he's not promoting coffee investments. It is the fund these days. Yes.
I'm trying to support the United Republic of Chirinya.
Oh, with Carl's Green, whatever it is. Yeah. So, but it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
And of course, to our viewers.
Yeah.
We really cherish them, we respect them, we are happy that they keep with us. The AFCON,
do you watch football?
I watch soccer, yes. I do watch soccer, but I think that I would not have been paying much attention to AFCON.
Okay.
But I have my young boy, my son.
Okay.
He's such a football lover that he can't let you not to know. So he's the one, what is the result?
Okay.
Can you tell me what is going on? So sometimes we have to share the phone so that he can also see what is going on. So we have been arguing, we were arguing last night. He thinks Nigeria will take it this time.
Take the trophy.
I've told him Nigeria is not going to take it. I'm glad about DRC. So it's West Africa, Central Africa, maybe a fair. But it's also been, in my view, small teams that slaying giants.
Yeah,
it's been like giant slaying that is not common in the. So I am hoping that then we can have increased, balanced.
The Cameroons we used to watch, Ivory Coast,
it was
Morocco,
the big ones. The North Africans, the West Africans. I think there have been small teams. I mean, the Cape Verde or somebody. You are wondering even where that country is, and it goes and slays a football giant. So that has been also of interest to me. Is there some re-energizing of football on the continent, or is it just a one-off for us? Because you see, we are in line to host AFCON.
Yeah, true. 2027.
So a lot of us, especially the ones in technical positions, would be interested in what is going on as we prepare. 2027 is very near. If you have to host such an event of that magnitude. So for me, I'm also looking at it from the fun, the game, and the things that are coming, unexpected things, but also as a region that is going to host.
Okay.
How are we paying attention to
AFCON?
Yes.
Thank you so much. And on the panel again, we have Honorable Stephen Mauku Mugole, the Member of Parliament for Kabweri County. He looks good in yellow, which is his political party. Happy to see you and having you back on the show.
Thank
Honorable.
you very much.
Fresh from the caucus.
Fresh from the NRM caucus.
Thank you very much. First of all, greetings to all Ugandans, viewers, but also most especially those people from Kabweri. Just 2 weeks ago, I hosted them when my daughter was introducing. Unfortunately, I did not invite any of you. I'm very sorry.
No, it's,
but I
it's fine.
I invited you. You did just
I
come.
did.
You were supposed to tell everybody.
No, you knew we didn't have fuel. you saved us the embarrassment.
I should have provided because as friends, as we sit here always, we should really all visit.
And they are busy choosing me of putting on red. I don't know.
Everybody has put on his own color. Brown, green, red. For me, I'm multicolor now. Blue, yellow.
But we can see the dominant color. Is yellow.
So happy to be here again. I think that's what made me get lost when I lost my father, and then thereafter I had to prepare for the introduction of my daughter. I want to thank people. Really, this was not just a mere introduction. It was like a market day.
Wow. Congratulations.
So many people came. I thank the honorable members of parliament, around 15 of them who graced the occasion. I thank you for sparing time. I'm here again to analyze issues of,
thank you.
Of the country.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure.
As he was saying, yesterday I watched Congo, and I saw the coach whom we lost here.
Yeah, Desebre.
Yeah, was the one doing.
He's a former Cranes coach.
Yes, in Congo, and as we are going to host,
I had dodged that one.
as we are going to host AFCON, we are doing everything as government to ensure that really we host, because selecting is one thing, but hosting is another.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you don't meet the parameters that are provided for, it can be removed from you. So budgeting, whatever is being done to ensure that all fields, all areas of concern are addressed.
Wow. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure having you back on the show, Honorable Stephen Mugore. One quick comment. I said it's a week of graduation parties and jubilations over, those achievements. Do you see something changing in our education system? Do you see something better happening, or these graduation parties are now an issue, only come as a norm, as a culture? Do you see something good out of this education system?
Yeah, you even saw, first of all, I come from Kibuku, and you heard that Kibuku trailed in the failures in the PLE. Something unprecedented we didn't imagine. So though the general results were not good, we are going to sit as a district leadership to address this particular problem. But changing the curriculum to
competence-based.
Yes, and student-based as opposed to teacher-based, I think is going to change. Having these issues in the education system where people are looking majorly at examination-based than the competences somebody has is also going to change. Also, the number of courses that are going to be fused is also going to, because there are a number of courses really which are duplicated, and so that is also going to change. As per now, I don't see much change yet until the whole system moving from down up changes. I'm happy one of our colleagues got a PhD in gender. That's the Minister of State for
Defense and
Minister of State for Culture.
Oh,
That's
Honorable Mutuzo, peace.
Yeah, she has been doing. I've been even answering some of her questionnaires.
Wow.
Yeah, for her dissertation. So I'm happy she qualified to get a doctorate.
Okay.
But changes as per now, not yet seen, but in the next 5 years or so to come, when the whole system has been rationalized, then...
So we are on the right track,
we are.
One quick comment, Dr. Jared Werewanzara. We have very many Ugandans now who are in their 80s, 70s, running to acquire degrees and PhDs. Don't you find that somehow somehow tricky?
It's not really tricky because apart from the knowledge people seek, because sometimes, like he has just given an example, the Honorable P.C. Mutuzo is the Minister of Gender. So probably in the course of her work, there is something that has motivated her to go and seek more knowledge in the area of gender and probably women's studies. And that knowledge that she thinks can help her contribute effectively now or even in the future. Like some of these people can leave government and serve in other international
Is
agencies.
it 2-3 years ago when we saw General Moses Ali and Honorable Kennedy Chambers and others being awarded degrees from Makerere?
Yes, some of them, like the Luchamzis, in the course of legislating, along the way they thought
But he's
probably studied
now a
law.
veteran.
Yeah, but I remember
Politician.
he enrolled some time back. The period of completion is what was long. Because probably these papers were not easy for him. But some of them have done it for business, establishing law firms.
Oh, yeah.
Others to improve their legislative knowledge, understanding of the constitution, rules of procedure. So for me, those are the motivations around them. But for me, my concern is more about the base, the foundation. Because like he's saying, my district, Namisindwa,
Was
had
listed among those who
28% of the children received grade U, and I saw them categorized together, meaning the ungraded. Now, those ones, after that, where do they go? So for me, I remember the NRM government promised to, alongside the secondary school, to have also vocational schools in the sub-counties. These would absorb these people more, because I've seen these presidential skilling programs. Yes, they are good, but they cannot absorb as many people as possible. So instead of having these ones drop out because they cannot continue, and then they become thieves in the village, probably technical schools would absorb them, and they do a meaningful contribution to society.
Your quick opinion, Richard, on graduations and the pomp that comes around this time. Are we getting the right benefit out of this education system?
I don't attribute the pomp of graduation to the education system. No, I think they are separate. When I graduated, I had a battle with my parents over a party. Because by the time I graduated, I had started working. I was already at Radio Uganda, TV, no vision running around. And I understood the value of money. I could see what little I was being paid and what it could do. And then I looked at the budget of the party. It could have bought me a car. And I needed a car to run the different stories and be efficient. In fact, it could be a money maker for me. But I was rubbished.
They want the party.
And yes, they explained to me that, you see, the celebration is not necessarily mine. It is theirs.
Okay.
They are congratulating themselves on having successfully discharged me out of their wallets. I can now go
Send off.
and be on my own. So I understood. I was intransigent. I only came at 7 p.m. to be with them. I had to first finish my reporting our assignment and produce the item for graduation, because now I went to graduation to report on our graduation for News Hour program that evening. And then the person we graduated with, and I'm sorry for taking a minute on this, but it really relates to what you are talking. One of the people we graduated with, my very dear friend, she's now a lawyer, called Deepa. Then she invited me later to her party. And the Bahindi, the way they were doing it, is they would each of them carry something to eat. So this one makes samosas, this one makes bajia, this one comes with a soda, this one brings. So the fresh graduate and her family were not spending on a party. It was the other ones coming. And instead, you prepare. Their behavior was that you tell them what you want to do next. Is it a master's? Is it start business? Her option was, she was unhappy with the bachelor's of social sciences she had finished, because it was a government sponsored, and at that time we didn't have private. But that by the time we finished, private had been introduced for commerce and law. So she wanted to be a lawyer. And these people who came contributed. Instead of contributing to buy matoke and soda and wine, they contributed to her tuition, and she's now a lawyer in this town with a law firm.
Yeah, there's a very strong law firm.
So I was totally, and the Dipaz family was wealthier than ours.
Oh.
So when you ask me about the pomp, we need to separate the pomp.
And the education
Absolutely.
system.
I think the loss, the confusion, the loss actually in our minds is wanting to have the most pompous. Now, when you have the Honorable Bugweri having a party and calling constituents, probably he's preparing for 2026. Really, that's the essence. But I don't think he would have called that size of a party for graduation. I still doubt that he would have done that kind of investment. Because these fresh graduates of ours, we don't support them to start off.
Yeah, true.
We spend millions
On graduation parties.
on parties. And one person called me today to be a
and
special
later,
guest.
and later they are on streets looking for a job.
Somebody called me to be a special guest at his daughter's graduation today. We were in campus together. And I said, if I find a big part and they give me a microphone, the things I'm saying here
What you'll say.
are the things I'm going to say. So I think for me...
You will spoil somebody's party.
No, I think...
That will be better.
I think, yes, we need to talk about these things. So that if our parents did these things, we should not continue in this.
Yeah, true.
I was imagining if the people who 15, this was a Kuinjira, a giveaway. But if it is a graduation for Honorable Mugore, and 15 members of parliament come to the graduation of his daughter, and each one chips into the pocket of this girl, she would have an enterprise to start immediately after, as she looks for whatever English paper job. So I think
we can turn graduation parties into an avenue to fundraise and
to support
to support
the next hustle
the next
of the graduate,
hustle.
of the fresh graduate.
that is amazing.
Yes.
In fact, for me, I've never had a party for any of my children who have. I have a number of them who have graduated. We don't go for parties. After the graduation, we pass somewhere for a lunch.
Just have a lunch.
Wow.
And they come home.
Yeah.
Party for what?
I think that's something we can think about. So
No, we are
it's
taking
food for thought.
no, we are taking too much time thinking. You see, I don't want to have this project thing where you have paralysis due to over-analysis. This is clear to us, we should do it.
Do you find it unusual for a Ugandan of 70, 80 years going back to university for?
No, I will go back. Only when immediately I clocked 50, I went back to school. I told you, for me, my 50th birthday celebration was to pay for myself to go to study.
But at 80,
That was.
going back to school, I find it unprecedented.
Yeah.
Maybe for inscription on the grave that you have got.
Yeah, because you see, sometimes you are 80
The Bible is,
and you have nothing to go and do.
the Bible is very clear that man should be there for 70 years and only the strong ones will go up to 80.
I want to caution
Yeah, may I
I want to
also
caution
see-
Honorable Mugore that that's not the position of the caucus.
So for me, at 80, to go back for a PhD or whatever, is for inscription on the grave that
he has this
Self-actualization.
degree and this doctorate.
yes.
All right, thank you so much, our viewers, and it's a pleasure having you on the show. We congratulate all those who excelled in different disciplines. We are not saying it's bad to celebrate. Actually, these celebrations are motivated by the long journey, the hustle we Ugandans go through to attain, these achievements. I think possibly it's justified for one to celebrate, looking at how somebody toils to go through the education, this long education system, and through hardships of even selling land, selling property, because you want a kid to go to school. I think at times people feel they need to celebrate that particular achievement, which is not bad. Viewers, we kick off the show right away with the happenings in the opposition ranks in this country. We had a story running this week of the opposition National Unity Platform having infightings within, especially in Greater Masaka, with accusations and counter-accusations between leaders of the National Unity Platform, some of them are choosing others of wanting to dislodge the president of the party. And to be specific, the former leader of opposition, Honorable Mathias Mpuga, is being accused of wanting to take over the presidency of the party from Robert Sentamu Kyagulanyi. And the jostling and infighting somehow others think may threaten the future of this new political formation. And looking back at what is happening in the FDC, we have witnessed not so pleasant scenes and happenings in that particular party. Now, as we speak, they have two different headquarters. But again, we received reports that some of those leaders, FDC top leaders from Kasese district, are going back to Najanankumbi. They say they cannot allow Dr. Besigye and his group to take them to NUP. They must still maintain their allegiance with the FDC at Najanankumbi. And to kick off this discussion, Dr. Jared Weranzala will tell us what he thinks is happening in the opposition ranks. Is the opposition falling apart, or they are just reorganizing themselves ahead of 2026?
Thank you very much, Apollo, for that. And I want to start by telling that if this did not happen in the opposition, I was going to be very surprised, because I expected it to happen anyway. If you look at our border politics, especially within the political parties, even following the referendum that brought back the political parties, we saw a situation where there are different interests within the party. One, you could have like a group that is very serious, wants political power, and those groups exist. Then within the same opposition political parties, you find those who spy, who are earning money from elsewhere, and then they do the spying and they cause confusion within the political parties. Then we also had those who are loyal to certain individuals, not the party, but individuals. That when an individual says you jump, he doesn't ask how high, just jump. So those also, we have them in these political parties. Now, looking at what is happening in the NUP, recently when there was a reshuffle in the shadow ministers and so forth, I think among the questions you asked us here was that what could have been the motivation? If you play back what I said, I talked about issues of loyalty and also what we're hearing in the corridors about the perceived disloyalty or closeness of the then leader of opposition to the ruling party or the principle. And so we also have these groups, those who are, if I'm to use how Mao used to describe the NRM, there's a time Norbert Mao used to say that in NRM there was NRM gaseous, NRM liquid, and solid. So even in the NUP, there are those who call themselves solid. At the forming of people power, our power, then NUP, they were by the principle. Then along the way, other people came in from the DP bloc and that to form the NUP. So I expected that to happen, that naturally, there are also people who think that probably in terms of experience and political knowledge, they are better than the principle. That you work around the parliament, you have heard even from their own political party. So for me, I believe that this is going to play out, and I'm not surprised that even if Mpuga pulled back and is not being confrontational in any way, there is a group that will go against him.
Oh.
Yes. And this started early. They used to call them foot soldiers, NUP foot soldiers. And they were mobilizing already against Kagabo and the Mpuga. So even if he's not confrontational, that group is there and they will want him out. Now, coming to the FDC.
No, if they succeed to kick him out of the NUP ranks, as it is alleged they are doing. Do you see the party continue to hold, or possibly it will develop many more fractures and possibly fall apart?
Of course, if they disintegrate, they will play in the hands of President Museveni and the NRM. And I think that would be his prayer anyway. Because as you know, that the reality is that in his central, the Robert Chagulanyi and NUP are an item. It is very, very, very hard for you to go against their networks, their principle particularly. I may not talk about NUP is different from the principle, but there are those people who support the principle to the extent that if probably the principle moved away from the NUP, they would leave the pattern, follow that person. So it's not going to be easy, but of course when they do that, they play in the hands of President Museveni, because President Museveni has not withdrawn. In fact, immediately after the 2021 elections, he has continued to engage. You see, he appointed the highest number of unelected leaders from Buganda particularly. And he has continued to focus there with programs of Emyoga, programs of...
So could it be that President Museveni's effort or NRM's effort is yielding on NUP through these infightings we are witnessing now?
I do not have the evidence to prove that it is the efforts of NRM. It could also be just due to internal insecurities. Because we see them even in organizations where some of us have worked, where sometimes a leader thinks that someone is emerging and then goes on to destroy you. So it could be self-destruction.
Self-destruction.
And actually the rumors may even be unfounded.
Thank you. Before we go, let me first get Richard Baguma. Tell us what you think. Is it about to implode within the NUP, or the NRM efforts are yielding results?
No, I don't think that it's fair to say that the Honorable Kagabo's shift is because he was fished by the NRM. No, I think the Honorable Kagabo was chased
from NUP.
I think he was just looking for a home. So I don't want in my mind to say that the President Museveni and his NRA
but was he
went and
initially?
Fished.
That's another question.
But you see, if you ask initially, then there is nobody who was more NRA than Chiza Besigye or Mugisha Muntu.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we go into initially, So no one fished them. The NRA, the politics of the NRA at the time, they didn't agree with it. They went away. I think that's what has happened with the Honorable Kagame. That the inability for the NUP to be an organized group and rein in its errant mob is actually creating a challenge for the NUP. That the mobocracy in NUP...
What do you call being informal?
They have mobocracy. They have a mob approach to things. So you choose that the Honorable Mpuga will be stoned, soiled, muddled, or in every platform you can get. So what do you want Honorable Mpuga to do? So this one, he acts for the set, pulls back. Because he's unable to do the Komanyoko politics. Segona, whoever, those are unable. So you are empowering this group which goes, insulting everyone. But that group cannot sit on a table, on a political table. No. So that group you have to have control over it. Now, I think the NUP doesn't have adequate control over that group. You see, how did the Honorable Kagabo unravel? He unraveled over 40 million shillings. Yes. That's how he unraveled. And I am sure Honorable Kagabo was like Zirituaure. I don't know if you people remember the Honorable Zirituaure.
When he walked out.
He walked alone.
And walked alone.
Honorable Kagabo walked alone. He expected that all these people would come. He brought the 40 million shillings, and instead he was facing the police. Alone. No one was making noise. He ran around you people. You said we return this money. We expose. Where are you people? Are keeping their money and keeping quiet. And say you go it alone. So he would rather go to this side where you are given money, 50 million during Christmas or whatever, and you work with it. You go and give your constituents or some of it to your family anyway. So for me, I don't see that the President William Museveni went and fished Kagame.
So no. you say the problem comes from within the NUP.
Self-inflicted, in my view.
Because
on this particular case,
they chose
self-inflicted.
Because they chose to work in an informal way.
No.
Because they failed to rein on the errant.
Because they are dishonest. Because they are working dishonestly. You see, there's no one who doesn't work dishonestly in politics, in my view. You don't have barocco in politics. You have to have a certain level of you know, I call it honest economics. You have to have some honest economy, in my view, in politics. But you see, for him, he believed the lies they were saying. Let's go and we are going to. So he took leadership and moved with his 40 million. And then it was taking him to prison. And all these others were under there for him. And you want him to remain with that group? No.
So what do you think these infightings?
I think what they are going to do, they are weakening that group. That group is becoming weaker and weaker. It cannot have the same political fortunes that it had. It can't repeat those fortunes. And this one talked about the president's approach to the appointments in the central region. The ones who were not given mandate by the people, because of this wave, he gave them mandate. They have remained relevant, they have remained working, they have remained with resources to go back to the grassroots. You will see the impact, 2026.
Okay, Honorable Mugore, take your shot. Tell us what you think is happening within the opposition ranks, especially the NUP.
You talked of NUP, FDC, all of them. Let me begin with NUP. NUP is a formation that was done barely a year before the elections. And Hulbalu, which was around whether they should be registered.
It was registered in 2019.
Yeah, but that is not the original. The other one was just a pressure group. This party, which was just in 2019, was just by another person. Then it just transformed. Even that setting alone causes a crisis. Because these people have been in the court even up recently, somebody claiming for his party. So it was set on a very loose ground, a party boat, a structure which has just been bought. That was not the original formation. The other one was the people power, something like that. So that causes a problem primarily on the foundation. Number two, what gives impetus and strength to the so-called NUP was the DP bloc. What is the DP bloc? Is of highly brainy members of parliament who are in their third, fourth term. The Mpugas, the Segoners, obviously when they went, they overshadowed the owners of NUP in regard to reasoning, in regard to influence, and the mobocracy my brother was talking about has caused problems to NUP without any interference from any RM at all.
Are you sure about that?
Without any interference from any RM.
How sure can you be?
I'm any RM. I'm trying to tell you, without any interference. I can tell you what happened in Parliament. Whereas NUP changed almost all its structures. The opposition, NRM did not.
Yeah.
We were debating it here. Once you see stability somewhere, leave that stability to continue. Did you see many MPs complain because they have not changed the chairpersons of these committees? No, because
But the process is on. They invited you people to press in your interests, to register your interests.
And people did, but the party chose that if these people have served well, let them continue. I can assure you, change is good. But the change that was done in NUP at that time, more especially on the position of leader of opposition, is the cause of problems you are seeing today.
You relate these infightings to the change of leadership?
Internal infightings which caused the changes of leadership. I can tell you one of the most excelling people in the opposition who did so well, whose positions could not have changed, is that of leader of opposition, the shadow minister for finance,
Mwanga
Kivumbi. That is the man who comes even with a minority report and all of us in NRM support. Because
so
of
you're saying it was a mistake for the NUP
to some of those changes. And that could...
No. It was a mistake for NUP to exercise transfer of power, peaceful transition in leadership.
That was not a mistake for them to transfer power. But it was a miscalculation for them to get somebody who was originally from DP block, who has been leading, and remove that person and put now the original NUP, the DP block, which comes with the Kivumbis and whatever, Segonas, all of them changed from their positions. Presupposes that they are being pushed out.
For your information, the claims are like the very people who are behind the infightings we hear in Greater Masaka are the ones who pushed for the change in the leadership in parliament, especially the position of Matthias Mpuuga. So that means that it's not only about the leadership of Mpuuga switching Mpuuga, but the problems have been there before. The simmering disagreements have been in the party for some good time.
The problems were there that caused the change of Mpuuga. The change of Mpuuga didn't just come anyhow. It was because of those infightings that caused that change. And like my brother here from Namsindu was saying, Doctor was very correct that he would be surprised if he wouldn't see any Hulbal come after those changes. And you've seen that there was nothing much fall out until after this change.
So,
has come.
Honorable Mugole, are you saying that you in NRM, you try to avoid what you call the Hulbalos of that come after the after effects of those changes and transitions? You try to avoid them. That is why you've maintained one chairperson of NRM, chairman of NRM for now 38 years.
Yes, because you know that there will always be problems. Changes comes with problems. As long as somebody...
So you fear change. You try to...
We don't fear change. Change comes where it is necessary. Where there is...
In NRM, it is not necessary now.
Not necessary now for changing. Because you see, we're passing a resolution to thank His Excellency the President for hosting 3 international conferences. That is the
NAM,
G77, IGAD, name it. And also the Commonwealth Speakers Conference. 4 international conferences in 1 month. And you know that NAM has given the president chairmanship up to 2017. And as we're passing that resolution...
2027.
The 2027. And as we're passing that resolution, it was even in parliament, was just like, since he's president until 2027.
Yeah.
He's chairman since 2027. So 2026
No,
is automatic of who
No,
will be, who will
Honorable,
continue.
you know what the Constitution says.
We
and,
know.
And,
We know.
and just next year,
Just next year, we know
will
there
be
will be
into
elections.
campaigns.
There will be elections, but that presupposes already in our caucus that we already have somebody who will be the presidential candidate, since he's already president and chairman for all these two very great.
Back to our topic, Honorable. How do you see these infightings in opposition parties really affecting the progress and democracy in this country?
By the opposition is important for checks and balances. I, as a person, I see that the opposition is crumbling.
Repeat.
And I see that the opposition is crumbling. The strength of the opposition that was can never be again. One, a number of opposition groups are signing memoranda to work with NRM. That means, therefore, that even when there is opposition, but there is a cooperation with NRM. So the opposition that we used to have of agitation and whatever, I think is not going to continue.
So you also agree that working with NRM, opposition working with NRM, undermines the strength of opposition parties?
Automatically. That's why I don't have to mince words. Because if we are working together, some of the opposition people are in cabinet, some of them are given, so that could even be a good working harmonious relationship in government that is required, but that tones down the strengths of opposition.
Final on NUP, do you think will they really manage?
They can't regain what they got in 2021. NUP can never reach that level again, because now we have, every Ugandan has seen the holes within the party and how they can administer if given chance to be in charge of this country.
Perhaps they are reorganizing themselves.
Let them do so.
So it is your wish
Yeah, they can reorganize. They are
that
given
the party crumbles, the opposition parties crumble.
If I'm in the NRM, I want dominion. If parties are crumbling, how can it be my wish?
Thank you so much, Honorable. Finally, from you, Dr. Jirelu Walewanzara, in just 3 minutes. What is the future of democracy in this country if we see political parties, like Honorable Mugole is saying, crumbling, falling apart?
I will not entirely put that responsibility in the hands of the opposition alone. But over time, I think in Uganda, we have lost that ideological touch to political parties and what they stand for. I remember when I was a UPC youth leader in Makerere, we knew what we stood for as a party. Independence, total independence of Uganda. We'll talk about Pan-Africanism. We'll talk about the transformation, that's from peasantry to, we stood for the youth, all of those things.
Fighting poverty.
Exactly.
I hear all the principles of NRM
We knew them.
embedded in.
No, but NRM is younger than UPC, so who comes from who? So we knew what we said. We all knew that we were a social democratic party. We believed that the state should take a leading role in education, health, infrastructure, and ensure that there's human development so that people can effectively contribute. And if you read about the party, you'd see that the focus of UPC administration was on things like cooperatives, education, health, and they wanted it equal development.
All those are not present in.
No. So if you look at DP, we knew that this is a political party that stood for social justice.
Truth and justice.
Truth and justice. And that is what they would talk about all the time. today, I cannot really know the distinction between, say the DP, sorry, now the NUP, and I don't know, apart from the faces that you see, because people rarely articulate what they stand for. And then also the other is the operating environment, that if the allegations are true, that money is used to destabilize political parties, that is also wrong. Because yes, political parties can spy on each other to understand their strategy, to understand what they are doing, but if money is used to go and, you know, use it like throwing a stone in the beehive, and people start quarreling the next day, that is wrong. Because a country that does not have organized political parties will end up with street people leading government. And that is very dangerous. And that's why, this is where I depart right now with the, said Dr. Besige's approach to the politics of Uganda. I supported him a number of times, but the moment he started saying now, political parties are useless, revolutions are good, but when they lack leadership, where they are not well organized, the country can be buried.
So you seem also not to agree with Honorable Mugore, who is actually happy that these political parties are crumbling.
I don't want to believe that he doesn't know that. He knows the role of political parties, and if I'm to trace him, I know he's in NRM, but he may have had a background in another political party. Yes.
Oh.
And so he knows the role political parties can do in the governance of the country.
And that's what I started with.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I told you, the importance of opposition. They do checks and balances, and that's why we have leader of opposition.
Wow.
And they do a great job in parliament.
And you don't support the idea of empowering these political parties.
No, they are empowered. Don't you know that they get?
But you celebrate their downfall.
Why not? If they fall.
The dialogue will be back after this short break. Still, we have the panelists to continue with this discussion. But again, we'll be also looking at other issues that came up within the week. Let's go for a break. We'll return after this short while. This is the dialogue. Richard and Honorable Stephen Mauku Mugore in the studios to take us through the big stories in the week, looking at the infightings in the opposition national unity platform comes after a long battle within the FDC, and we are trying to paint a picture of what possibly this means to the opposition and the general body politic in this country. But also in this particular hour, we'll be looking at the resolutions made by the NRM caucus last evening, looking at the support, the party agreeing to support the process of rationalization of government agencies, which has been going on, but has dragged for some time. An idea came way before 2016, to merge these many government agencies, and some of them to have them compressed into their mother agencies with the purpose of saving public money that is being spent around these many agencies, with some of them actually performing almost the same role but different agencies. But quickly, as we conclude this particular issue, we cannot go without also speaking about the FDC, as some members who had broken ranks with the mother party at Najana Nkumbi, some of them returning back. Dr. Jededwele Wanzala, just I think it's fair, before I bring you in, I hear from Baguma, Richard. What do you think all this means as we all gear up to 2026?
You see, I still think that in some, there are largely two things that happen. One is the individual merit syndrome. I think the individual merit syndrome is very strong. In fact, in places, even where the NRA wing is strong, when they make a mistake of not getting the most meritorious individual, they become independent and they win. Even where the NRA political wing is has a stronghold, if they make the mistake of not getting the one who's most popular, they still lose to an independent. In fact, you can see that one of the things I think that has been disturbing the NRA group is to, by registration, defeat independencism, independent candidatism. They have been struggling to kill it by registration. So in a way, coerce people to belong. And then cheat them from within. I'm not sure that's clever.
Or it is because the political formations and structures have not been given adequate support, both political and material.
Yeah, but who should give them support? And why? That's for me always my question. Say they have not been supported. Supported by who? Why should they be supported? For me, I think they have support. If you have people in parliament,
you have a party,
you get resources.
You have a party like NRM, for instance. You have structures, but structures are not operating.
So when I come and tell you here that it is Waringa, you are confirming my position. You see, that's why I keep telling you, for me, the NRM is Waringa. It's just a
then what about DP?
It's just a mirage. You see, I'm laughing because I know somebody who is going to ask me why I'm a very senior person. Yesterday in the compound of, was yesterday, the other day, in the compound of Senate, he said, but why do you keep calling us Waringa? I said, but you see, that's what it is. If indeed the NRM existed, then you would walk to an NRM office somewhere in Barara and you find it open. None. There is none. There is no open office for NRM.
The ruling party. So really? so you agree that possibly the NRM Waringaism is also being by osmosis or what is now being experienced.
You see the Waringaism
in other political parties.
The Waringaism is the one where the most investment is done. It means that the Waringaism must be a national approach. That no political formation must be allowed
to operate
as an institutionally and strongly. It cannot be.
So the problems we witness now in the opposition are actually arising from the inefficiencies in NRM.
No,
that's what
there is no inefficiency. The NRA wing is very efficient. It is so efficient that it must defeat any strong political formation to make. It cannot be allowed. No. This gentleman here, if he wants to fall, let him go and try to have an office operate in his district of the NRM. The political,
an NRM
you can't, a functional office.
Can't run a functional office.
You are undermining the individuality, the power of the individual. So the institutions cannot be allowed. It's very simple. So if you have a strong youth group called NRM, youth, no, you'll have an MK movement, which is built around an individual and a personality. That will be facilitated and it will work.
Then where is the future of democracy in this country?
Yeah,
Richard?
but you see, I keep telling you that democracy is a concept that is unpacked wrongly in my view. What is the essence of democracy? What is the essence? And those are the things we should be.
Good
if the
governance.
essence, yes, so are we governed badly?
Accountability?
Are the accountability structures working or not working? Is the Auditor General working? Is the anti-corruption unit working? Yeah.
Efficiency,
that's the essence.
Efficiency in service delivery.
And tell me where in poor societies, in poor countries, where efficiency in service delivery is achieved. You are dealing with poverty.
Finally from you.
Therefore, I tell you, that for me it is Musevenism that we are working with. Besgeism, Chaguranyism. That's what we are working with.
Okay, thank you so much. Viewers, you can be part of this discussion. Send your comments and observations on 0701 609906 as usual. Be brief and precise and to the point. Tell us what you think the infightings we see in the opposition ranks really mean to the body politic and democracy of this country. Dr. Gerard Waliwanzara, one quick final comment on the future of the politics in this country.
Now, building on what he has talked about, Musevenism, Besgeism, Chagulanyism, what does it mean? That individual merit system that they came with from the bush is still the most dominant. Now, the advantages with it is that power is built around individuals, and therefore when power is built around individuals and the masses don't have any power, then they are able to prolong their existence and relevance in the politics of Uganda. Now, it's the situations where people are empowered to have that power, then it becomes very easy to change things. Now, on the last note, when the NRM, is it Transformer Cadres Forum, said let's go for an indirect system of elections, I wrote a very big article in the New Vision. When people were saying this is not democratic, I asked, what democracy are they enjoying now? Because democracy presupposes that the institutions are working and people are enjoying services, but which is absent, okay? So what I proposed was that if we want political parties to be stronger, probably we would go for the South African model, that you have a party list, okay, that Honorable Mugole does not go to Kabweri and campaign for himself, but he campaigns for the NRM. Then the NRM later nominates him to represent Kabweri. By that, the social base of the political party in the village will be stronger.
Exactly.
And therefore, they can even recall a leader. But if you have this one, where individual merit is mixed with the party system, it doesn't work.
Doesn't work. Finally, from you, Honorable, will we actually get what we expected from this system? I think now we agree that individual merit syndrome is one of the issues, that factors that are that limit progress in this multi-party dispensation.
Yes, it has two main aspects from most of the benchmarks we have done currently as members of parliament. You know, the president is quite a visionary leader. When they were fighting and they saw that multipartyism was a problem. Even this pluralism which came was a force on this government. Not that they wanted, but it was just a movement system where individual merit had been entrenched into the people. And that's why even in the constitution, we have failed to remove individual merit. If you go to Tanzania here, there is no member of parliament who stands on independent ticket. Even in Kenya, you can't be a member of parliament as an independent. We still have it even in our constitution. That means, therefore, that our democracy is centered on an individual. Because we still have individual merit there, not party. You go to Rwanda here, you're not a member of parliament for Kabweri County. No.
You're a member of the
member of
RPF.
parliament for a party.
RPF.
And you don't represent a constituency. You represent a country as a member of parliament. It even kills corruption. It stops this voter buying. Because
Yes.
it's not the person in Kabwe voting you, it is the party. You're on a list. Recently, I've been having a president in our formations of the trade union. She has been the president of IUF. Recently, I think one MP died in South Africa. All we had that on the list, she was the next person to be the MP. So they have taken. She's now a member of parliament in the South African government. Unknowingly, she even didn't know. But you see, on the list, you are next. So now as this one exits,
So you also propose the dispensation should change.
yeah, if it doesn't change, you cannot stop voter buying completely because you are now campaigning as an individual.
Oh.
Let me read out these messages as you conclude.
And that, because the multipartyism was just later on forced onto this government, and they left the individual meritism, I can assure you there can never be very strong parties in Uganda that are not around an individual.
But at that time, there were claims we were running into a one-party state situation. That is why even individuals here were clamoring
That
for
was not a party.
multipartyism.
That was not a party. In fact,
Movement
that is what,
system.
That was what. Yeah, that a movement system was not a party.
The Justice Manyindo, I remember in his
It was not a
ruling,
party. It was a movement. Everybody was free. It was all inclusive.
Justice Manyindo, in his ruling, when he was declaring that the NRM was a party, he said, it moves like a duck.
It grows.
Quacks.
Like a duck, looks like that's why it is a duck. Then he said that it has a secretariat, it has a symbol, it has a national delegates conference.
When actually we are in
so
the
he said it
movement
was actually a political party, a single political party.
So you agree that we were quickly running into a one-party state.
We were under one party state. This guy sing as a
movement.
a movement
It
system.
was a movement because everybody could go to. They could put anybody on cabinet. Everybody in the parliament. You remember even the discussions of parliament where you are talking of 6th parliament, 7th parliament, because everybody has a right to discuss his own way. There were no caucuses. That's why the parliament was very vibrant because everybody was speaking as an individual. Today, you must toe the party line.
All right. Political parties are dominated by vultures competing for a carcass, with each competing throughout the other in order to have their turn to munch Katolwama's style. NUP has disappointed us, just like FDC to go Ingewa. We shall now vote independence this time round. NUP guys, having grown up in Kamocha, their thinking has failed to metamorphose beyond Kamocha and Bagere. They are terribly lacking in research and knowledge of what is affecting people in different parts of Uganda. They cut and paste as they move around. They are reorganizing themselves for the worst. Futureless lot. Norbert in Namalele. Thank you so much, and it is your opinion, quite a harsh opinion on the side of the NUP.
But that's what I told
He
you.
might be represented by Nupi. The Namalere is near here. For us, for me, the United Republic of Chirinya, our councillors have run away for Cheyo. And
almost all.
They are Nup. So
Okay, the messages are coming in, of course, falling apart. Yeah, of course they are falling apart. I don't believe in people who can make them organized like NUP. If these don't have trust in Impuga, who can bring them together? No way. CFDC, too much disorganized. DP, UPC, nowhere to be seen. And my brother Magala. Magala is watching, and he also says they are, of course, falling apart. They are not reorganizing in any way. And he says, good morning, Apollo and the panel. And you, Dr. Wanzala, Mr. Baguma, Mr. Mugore, we need to appreciate one thing, Mr. Apollo, that now the new party started as people power pressure movement so on becoming a political party, different individuals were drawn from various political affiliations purposely to win political offices, but had no party ideology and principles. Therefore, these members had no strong attachment to the party, so the bickering we now see is a vote of disrespect to the principle by the said MPs who believe they have enough experience in the politics of the country than the principle. Hence, they feel they should be the ones giving guidance and being consulted rather than what is happening in the party now. I am Ampumuza Aberikeru. Thank you so much for that message. He talks about disrespect and inferiorities running around in the NUP ranks. Thank you so much, gentlemen and ladies out there. Let me take another minute reading your messages. Opposition in Uganda, they should first occupy all constituencies throughout the country, not only the central region. Otherwise, they should not expect to win a presidential election. Ainebiona Isaac, watching live from Nasa Nawakiso. Thank you so much, Isaac. Is that possible? Winning all the constituencies, majority of the constituencies across the country, and then they present themselves as political parties? I think the political parties are the vehicles that can actually help them achieve this.
Yeah, that can't work.
Okay. You can keep sending in your messages. We'll be now shifting gears. And anything to talk about FDC, Dr. Jiru Ansala? They are returning back to their mother party.
As I predicted at that time, that a lot of factors would influence how Katonga would look. Because, as you are aware, NUP, like if you read even from the messages, is grounded around Central and some parts of Busoga, particularly Jinja. The other areas, I can assure you, FDC had more parliamentary candidates and local council 5 candidates in the last election compared to NUP. And so, I would use examples, MPs like Anna Ebaju, the FDC TESO. Today, if you go and you say you have gone to NUP, for you to come back to be re-elected, it will be a tall order. The same applies to parts of Acholi, like Amuru and elsewhere, where Gilbert Olanyas come from. Then Kasese. So I'm not surprised that these people are trying to come back and reconcile with their colleagues.
But why did they run away in the first place?
That is the individualism we are talking about. You don't listen because someone has said so and so took money. You remember a similar thing Mugisha Muntu faced. When the same person started saying, I have intelligence information that Muntu is in the State House, is meeting what, and everyone in the FDC believed it. And they followed him. So this time, only that he found Majegere. Of course, Nandala is a fighter. He couldn't just push him like that. But the reality is that these people would have reconciled and looked for a better way, maybe fighting within and win elections. If he wanted Lukwago to be in charge of FDC. But instead of bringing an allegation at the time the party is going to elections, and then you split the party. So people are coming back because they are not seeing a future. I can reliably inform you that
there is no future in Katonga.
It's not there because there are a few individuals.
Katonga is in the process of allying with the NUP.
Yes, there are a few individuals who want re-election. There are a few individuals who want re-elections in Kampala and Wakiso who are there. And for them, allying with the NUP works for them. But it doesn't work for the majority of them.
Like the ones from Kasese.
Yes, absolutely. It doesn't.
Honorable Mugole, what do you make of this now FDC returning back after just a short while? When we still have bruises still. Their bruises still dripping blood.
Apart from like 2 or 3 people from Western Uganda, my very good friend called Francis Mwijuchi, those were the Katongaism. You know that younger man was dying with Vesige everywhere. So they were with the Vesigism individual factor. But a party is centered on 2 people. A President General and a Secretary General. What a Secretary General writes is what is respected. Who is the Secretary General?
I don't think that is the truth with, that's not a fact with NRM.
It is.
Really?
You have really gotten into my head.
It is.
Apollo. I was really.
It is.
I was thinking about my
party
brother.
like NRM,
I was thinking about my brother
But a party like
namesake.
NRM depends on what Honorable Richard Todong, really, right?
Yes. What Honorable Tadong has written will have come from the chairman. That's what happened in FDC. The president, together with the Secretary General, once they're in bed, you together with the Treasurer General, you can fight up and down. I have been the trade union movement where the same Westminster style is entrenched, having a Secretary General who is the chief executive, a Treasurer General, and a President General. Once those three people are together, they can take a party anywhere. That's what happened to DP. As the others were sleeping.
But DP is not
listen,
going anywhere.
No. As they were sleeping, the President General and the Secretary General
Going
were
anywhere.
signing with the
For DP
with
going
NRM.
anywhere is going into NRM.
Listen, yes. But just listen to me. I'm trying to tell you the power of the position of a Secretary General, Chairman General, and a Treasurer General. Once those three are together, you will fight. The party cannot do anything. I'm now giving you an example
listen,
of what happened.
for them,
that
for
Mao
the Katonga, for the Katonga group, they were saying you can stay with the party, but you cannot. You can remain with a party office, but with no membership.
They can't. What they were trying to say, it was wrong, because where does FDC strong region come from? It's from Eastern Uganda. And you see that the President General is from Eastern, the Treasurer General and the Secretary General are from Eastern Uganda. For you have two members from Western Uganda, you cannot manage. Obviously, you are just talking, but the people will go to where the power
As you wind
is.
up, Honorable, on this,
that was just concluded on the issue of FDC. All of them, at the end of the day, if they will need to go back to Najarankumbi. The faction that fell off will go to Noop, like DP, when they fell off with the Mao. That's why the group joined Noop. NUP. Now the FDC, which has fallen off, can also go to NUP, or they can make any other political formation.
All right.
As it is coming up that there is now disintegration between the DP bloc with the original people power, NUP and whatever, even this, it is likely that there is going to be another political formation of disgruntled people who will come
both
together.
In NUP
yes,
and
both.
FDC.
Yes, they are going to form that.
It's really unfair to move on without a final comment from Richard.
Thank you. Individualism. I go back to individual meritocracy. No, meritorism. You see, what brings the meltdown in the supposed groups, and what are they opposing? The groups are opposing an individual. That's what is happening.
True.
So what makes them melt down is when there is perception, or real or not, that the one they were opposing is now becoming a little closer to them, to whoever is perceived to becoming, to start talking or negotiating with the one they oppose, the individual, then they break apart. So if you start accusing the Honorable Mpuga that he is being soft on President Museveni, then you start breaking. If you say that the Honorable General Mugisha Muntu is somehow talking to Museveni, then you break. If you say that the Honorable Nandara somehow is having a discussion open to Museveni, then you break. So again, the whole politics goes around individualism. That is why you see the disrespect issue came, and you pointed it out. That these people are not respecting
Robert Chagulanyi,
the Honorable Chagulanyi. And so the group will break.
Yeah, because you're not expecting an individual. The issue is individual.
So the issues that are actually bringing confusion within these political formations are not so grounded. They are just because you disrespect the individual, or you don't really ally to a certain group, then
In
you
fact, you are just not towing the
then
line
the
of
whole
an
party
individual.
collapses.
Yeah, you're not towing a line of an individual, but not a party structure.
Yeah, that is why in the NRA group, you can attack anyone. But the principal and the rib, the principal and his rib, touch them.
you're gone.
Then
That is how Honorable Miriam Matembes and
they
others
just
fade out.
there. And they all know.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, and thank you so much, our viewers, for this candid discussion. Let's shift gears and look at what were the resolutions from the NRM Parliamentary Caucus that convened last evening, discussing the process of rationalization of government agencies. We have agreed that we have very many agencies performing almost the same roles, and a lot. There is a lot of wastage in these agencies. But this is a story that started way back, and my concern is how it has dragged on. If we identify that it is a wastage, having UNRA on one side, and then you have the Ministry of Works, you have Uganda Electricity Regulatory Authority, then you have Umeme almost doing contracted to do the same job. So duplication of agencies is the issue. And from the resolutions, it was agreed that NRM members of parliament, this time when they go back to parliament, they must support the idea, the process of rationalization. Either some of these redundant agencies go back to their mother agencies, or they are compressed and others phased out. You will start with Honorable Mugore. You were in the caucus.
You probably would have left him to speak last so that he can wind up everything.
You were in the caucus. And my concern is, why has this issue dragged on and on when we actually agreed that there is wastage going on through these redundant agencies?
A number of issues. Neocolonialism is one of them, because some of these agencies were not formed without certain strings attached. International treaties that govern some of these agencies. You saw that last Wednesday we're amending the Civil Aviation Authority Act because of the Chicago Treaty.
Have to conform.
To conform
with international standards.
International standards. Some of them were relevant, that they should really not be. They needed some semi-autonomous. And that is the reason as to why it has dragged. I've given like 3. Though there are other phalangical reasons also, some subsidiary, but those are major. And lobbying. People in these agencies have been lobbying that the agencies should not be merged. Lobbying both internationals, lobbying government, lobbying members of parliament, lobbying all
for the good of the country, or for the
good of
their own
themselves,
benefit,
and also for the good of the country. Some of them are really reasoning for the good of the country, because first of all, why were the agencies formed? All these agencies we are talking about were formed during this government of NRM. But it was irrational in one way or the other. I can tell you a small example. I have been a CEO of a trade union for 20 years.
Wow.
But every project, somebody says, open an account. you have a general education account, but IUF says, I want my own account. FNV says, I want my own account. Uni says, and you end up having 10 different accounts in an organization. That is irrational. It's not rational at all. But because everybody wants his own account. As if when you put their money on a general education account, since they are projects to educate members, that it will not work. So that happened in this country.
Would there be an intention to smuggle and
No,
get?
the reason as to why they want their audit and accountability of their account separately
From the bigger
account. And that is how this country was irrationalized. Please put NEMA because of this. Put National Forest Authority because of this. But they are doing almost the same things. Put Uganda Wildlife Authority, put Uganda Wildlife Education Center, also as its own. Can they work together? Have a wildlife sanctuary. Have the rhino
Sanctuary.
separate. Can't all this be one organization and have departments? That's why during the caucus, the president was trying to reason why we have directors. I think because we don't have opportunity to speak on each and everything, I think I can have an opportunity here. The first thing to be rationalized were the ministries. People may think that we have very many ministers. No.
You say there are 26?
We had 60 ministries, and they were rationalized to 21.
There are 21 currently.
To 21. Later on,
there are 26.
they became 26 when we put the Ministry of Karamoja as a separate ministry. We put the Ministry of Security separate from Defense because of the issues that we had, until they came 26. So all of these other ministers of state you hear, some of them not even having enough work to do, was because government rationalized the ministries and did not rationalize the agencies.
Oh.
Now you find somebody is a minister in charge of this, but there is an agency which is semi-autonomous, which does not need any political interference, yet that minister would really be in charge of this particular agency. I can give you an example. This Minister of Tourism, Wildlife, and Antiquities. You have a Minister of State for tourism.
Honorable Mugara.
He's the Minister of State. But now he's in State for Wildlife. Because there's an authority there. What would have been done was that these organizations should have been also rationalized the way the ministries were rationalized. The president was also talking about the position of directors being removed. Why the directors came, it was because the ministries were rationalized.
These agencies have executive
and now,
directors.
A ministry, for example, which is most laden like that one of Gender, Labor and Social Development, which had the Ministry of Labor separate, when they came together, it has 5 state ministers. So if from a minister you are going to a commissioner, I mean from a permanent secretary, this permanent secretary is not going to manage to work alone in the absence of the permanent secretary. That's why the directors act, because the ministries were merged, came together, and that position but it is a matter.
So through rationalization, what will happen to those very many offices, directors, commissioners?
No, the commissioners will remain.
State ministers?
The commissioners will remain, the state ministers will remain. Because now, these other agencies, most of them are being brought back
to the mother ministry.
So that these directors have much work to do. I can give you that there is a director in charge of employment, industrial relations, and productivity.
In the Ministry of Gender.
In the Ministry of Gender. But they are commissioners on all this. There is a commissioner for productivity.
Oh.
There is a commissioner for employment. There is a commissioner for industrial
Now,
relations.
with the rationalization, will we maintain those commissioners again?
Yes.
Then
The
what,
commission-
then what will change?
Because now the commissioners, whereas they are there, some of those positions are not filled. Some of those positions are not filled because of the gaps created, that even if you are going to be a commissioner of this agency is being run semi-autonomously somewhere, yet it would be under the same roof.
So with the idea, with the principal idea of cutting on wastage,
yes,
will that be possible? Will we see?
Yeah, the wastage is like this. The wastage is that an organization is being run separately. It is setting its own salaries. It has a board.
Like Kampala Capital City Authority.
Yes, it has a board. You know how much money goes on the board? It's a lot of money. So there will be no board, number one. The salaries are going to be also rationalized, harmonized. Not a driver of KCCA earning 7 million shillings, yet the driver of a permanent secretary is earning 700,000. The other is earning 7 million, this one is earning 700,000. All these people are going to be paid their terminal benefits at a cost which is going to around 63 billion shillings.
Our time is running out.
Yes.
And I would want you to, in 3 minutes, speak out those important issues that you think.
In fact, this should have been the main topic. We delved so much into.
No, we still have time.
This would have been the most, because I didn't even want to rush into this, but to explain real holistically, because I've been engaged in a number of organizations merging, winding up, a sale of.
The good thing it is coming to Parliament.
Yes.
We will have time to discuss it.
So the issue of whether it shall be omnibus or we discussed that we should handle sector.
Yeah, sector by sector.
Sector by sector, but again in a cluster form. Because the issue of sector separately is that those very organizations are going to run to a committee, a sectoral committee, and say for us we should not be merged because of A, B, C, D. That's why Cabinet had said, let it be omnibus. But we have said now, let's cluster. Those ones that fall under this cluster, let's go and handle that cluster and finish that cluster, disband it off, get another cluster, disband it off. Because the laws were brought in Parliament separately. So if you just unpack them once, it can cause the litigation.
Honorable, I will give you one last time to wind up on that issue. But Dr. Jared Wehewanzala, do you see this process on a course? Because like I said in the beginning, it started some way many years ago, talking about this mistake that was committed of creating very many agencies almost performing the same roles, and then there comes the issue of wastage. These people, the directors and heads of these agencies, are paid heavily. They are in 25, 50, 30, 40 million every month.
Yeah, thank you very much, Apollo. I also recall that this matter gained traction in government about maybe about 10 years ago, if I remember. And the number of reasons were advanced. One, there were issues of supervision, that some of these entities, by law, are said to belong to, they're independent, but the mother ministry, so and so. But then they are more powerful and they cannot be supervised by they end up even actually they can even cause a transfer or even a fall of a minister. So that was one matter. The other was the issue of duplication. That you have a Ministry of Agriculture, but then you have NADS the other side, you have Cotton Development Authority the other side, Coffee Development Authority, Dairy Development Authority, all of them with cars and employees and so forth. And then you find that the ministry remains hollow. It's not doing anything much. So for me, that was reasonable. And then there are issues of equity in pay, which have always come up from the Equal Opportunities Commission and others, reports of Parliament, that this discrepancy should be cured. How do other people feel? Same rank, same qualifications, but the other one earns 10 times or 20 times more than the colleague. I think that was an issue at play. But then there are some agencies that were created because of the inefficiency in the ministries. I would take the case of UNRWA, for instance. I can say that UNRWA may have had its issues sometimes around corruption, but it has played a key role in terms of improving the road network in the country. So I hope studies have been done to prove that if, say, UNRWA goes and becomes the public works department like it used to be, it will still deliver what it is delivering to the people of Uganda. And then there are, of course, others. So to me, I think rationalization is a good move. Let's take the issue of energy. We have cried about the prices of electricity. But part of the reasons the government identified was that we created many agencies that all eat money. EDCL, transmission, generation, this one generates, sells power, so and so, then this one also. So at the end of the day, you find all of them competing to get loans to improve the energy sector. But you look at the efficiency, it's not there, and the cost of power is not going down, and at the same time, the cost of power affects production. So for me, rationalization is okay. But I believe that if they handle cluster by cluster, let them critically look at certain agencies if they should go to the ministry or not. Because
I also think the idea of looking at sector by sector, handling sector by sector was a good idea to get to know exactly how what their views are and those interactions possibly may save, like UNRWA. UNRWA is the one which had been listed first
is listed
to go back to the Ministry of Works, but we can appreciate their service over time, and we hope that, like you said, if it goes back, it continues to perform as it has been doing. Richard, what do you think? My worry was why has all this taken long, and finally the processes you hear that are going on, the caucus now has agreed. Do you think now it's forthcoming? Are we ready now to see it happen?
There was an important hope voiced by Dr. Willie that I hope studies have been done that when you move things, they'll be more efficient. I am a bit surprised that you all speak as if you were not here when these agencies were formed. There was excellent rationalization for that. Very excellent arguments, statistics, case scenarios. So where has been the think tank that generated this rationalization that has to be pushed down the throat of caucus? You know, caucus was not why? Where was the thinking done? Where was the modeling done? That now it is rational. It's a rational decision to put these things back into ministries. So if we call it rationalization, who rationalized and what was their rationale? I hear some group used to sit somewhere in some general's press and things were rationalized. You see, Apollo.
So this is different from the other structured adjustment program, which they say was forced upon us on powerful foreign powers.
But it's part of it. But the Honorable has also said that even the agencies were.
But he's telling you,
rationalization.
They sat at some general's house and they say,
I hear.
I
hear that they sat there because I have asked which was the think tank. No one has told me. Maybe they know, these gentlemen. No one has told me where the think tanking was done. That it is rational to return these agencies to government.
There are studies, obviously, because you see, the government cannot just come and to a caucus without a study.
Usually they come through that NRM party caucus.
I told you that there are certain people
They come through the NRM caucus,
who would
then
be,
go to cabinet.
Let me see.
Cabinet makes a decision.
But let me tell you, Apollo. The cabinet is bloated. Parliament is bloated. That is for sure. So where is rationalization there? There are two things that are creating problems. It doesn't matter whether you rename things, you call them rationalization. The first and most important is political patronage. And political patronage is a necessity. If you have to hold power for decades on end, you have to play political patronage. So the bloating has to happen because people must be placed. You will have to have an embassy which has 4 ambassadors. Yes, because when people go to stand in a constituency and they fail, if Honorable Mugore here fails, God forbid, he's a very good potential candidate for being an ambassador. That would qualify him to be an ambassador. He's failing in the constituency. So you see, political patronage.
You're saying somehow the creation of these agencies was informed by some decisions to create jobs for some people.
I am saying that whether you have agencies or not, you must create spaces for people to occupy, because that is political patronage. You have no choice. The second thing.
My argument and your argument are just the same.
Well,
Go ahead.
The second thing, and you talk about that the service delivery will improve. It will not. Service delivery is not happening because there are many agencies. It is happening because of corruption.
Oh.
And there is nothing in my
poor
view.
service delivery.
There is nothing in my view
Arises not from
that
having
gives
many
me
agencies.
an iota of or a sense that when you take agencies back to ministries, corruption will reduce. I don't have an iota of a sense of that.
Finally, because we are running out of time.
Therefore, for me, I do not see the rationality
In
the claimed rationalization. Deal with political patronage and deal with corruption.
I like your recent adoption of Museveni's therefore. Finally from
He's only missing a
But I
cup
have told you I'm a Museveni.
He's only missing a cup of coffee.
you. Finally from you, Honorable. Just 1 minute, because we're running out of time.
Must be repeated.
He says corruption, without fighting corruption, this rationalization
This dialogue
will not rationalize anything.
Dialogue on rationalization must be repeated, because we have not said anything.
We will
We've
repeat
not
it.
said anything. I've not talked about the study. I've not talked about a number of aspects.
So you agree
And
there
you
was a study,
and you are saying
not a decision from a general.
I know that study, those studies, even the. Anyway, there are certain things you don't say on TV, but those studies were commissioned to support.
Oh.
They were not independent. They were commissioned to support this process. And so when he cites them, leave me alone.
Okay.
Since the cabinet decision of February 2021, if you are seeing a caucus today, means we have never been together in regard to the issue of rationalization. Everybody has been on his own in this matter.
Okay.
So this is a concerted effort now to take the principle that, yes, let there be rationalization. How it is to be done? Is it omnibus? Is it sector? Is it cluster? We have also agreed on all of that, how it will be. We are going to come back here, address this matter. In fact, could be a topic of its own, because it is highly sensitive. We need to agree, even by the public.
If we may ask you,
Yes.
will it really save wastage of public funds?
Yes. I can tell you, I would have not spoken even here. There are certainly people who were not used to signing checks or in dollars.
I'm being told our time is out.
Let us conclude, but I have to say that it will save almost $1 trillion annually, And you know we have a number of budget cuts from elsewhere, so we must save from within.
Thank you.
And it shall.
It will not.
Thank you so much, our viewers. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you so much, the panel. Honorable Stephen Mugore,
will not.
Kabweri
That will be
County,
stolen.
Honorable Baguma Richard,
The honorable.
Dr. Meet up next weekend. Our time is out. God bless you and God bless Uganda.